The thing about Springsteen is you never get the feeling that you're listening to a millionaire when he sings and when he speaks, and actually a multi millionaire. And with Trump, that's the only thing that he seems to be interested in imparting onto you, that he is a vastly wealthy man, and that equates to human worth.
Donald Trump used to use that song at his rallies, but now the president has said that the singer is untalented, overrated, and should keep his mouth shut. It comes after Springsteen said Trump was an unfit president at a recent concert.
My country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies.
Well, this is the latest flare-up in a feud between the two men that's been going on for years, with Springsteen endorsing Trump's Democratic opponents in the last three presidential elections. Joining me now is the music journalist and author of the memoir Bodies, Ian Winwood. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Hugo. Hello to your listeners. Nice to be back.
Lovely to have you on the show, Ian. Look, this feud, this Trump-Springsteen feud, how long has it been going on and what's it really about? Is it just two rival visions of America?
I think that's exactly what it is. I was thinking just before we started this bit, you would really be hard pushed, I think, to find two more contrasting visions of what America is and what America can be or indeed should be. If you think about it, I think the most remarkable thing about Springsteen, James Dean Bradfield, actually, if you forgive the name drop, of Manic Street Preachers, once said to me, the thing about Springsteen is you never get the feeling that you're listening to a millionaire when he sings and when he speaks, and actually a multi millionaire. And with Trump, that's the only thing that he seems to be interested in imparting onto you, that he is a vastly wealthy man, and that equates to human worth, and thus the division between the men, even before you get into to what Trump is doing and what Springsteen thinks of what he is doing. That's a pretty fundamental division point between them. In answer just quickly to your original question, I don't think the feud goes back all that long, because it didn't need to go back all that long, because really Trump could be pretty handily ignored, as most New Yorkers and people from New Jersey were able to do, until he became a national figure whose actions had affected ordinary people's lives.
Yeah, no, we're not so much anymore.
No.
I mean, so like Donald Trump, he sort of launches attacks at various celebrities who launch attacks at him. Springsteen's a bit different. How political a figure is Springsteen? Is he a self-consciously political figure?
No, I don't think there's anything self-conscious about Springsteen's, what you might describe as his political identity. It has weaved into the music so kind of seamlessly that it has been very easy to overlook it. You played a clip from Born in the USA, which is a lyric about the struggles of Vietnam veterans to catch a break when returning home to the United States. The song kind of hides in plain sight. There's nothing hidden about it. There's nothing subversive about it. The lyric is flat out there. But many people for the longest time just thought it was a rah-rah, go USA, USA, USA kind of a song, when it's anything but. Much of his music, in 1982, he released an album called Nebraska. And I have a quote here from a great music writer called Grail Marcus. And he said, Nebraska is the most complete and probably the most convincing statement of resistance and refusal that Ronald Reagan's USA has yet elicited from any artist or any politician.
Wow.
Which is that's quite a statement to say.
So, what's fascinating about Nebraska and the politics of Nebraska, the vibe of Nebraska, is in a way it's not that different from the kind of J.D. Vance hillbilly elegy type thing about this sort of forgotten, downtrodden America. So, I mean, with bearing that in mind, why are Springsteen and Trump at such loggerheads when their constituencies are, at least theoretically, kind of the same people?
Well, I think it is vastly different from J.D. Vance. I mean, I've read Hillbilly Elegy. I read it actually when it came out. I thought this looks interesting. The difference between the two positions is J.D. Vance, at least as it seems to me, Hugo, is saying, hey, you're poor and that's your fault. And Springsteen is saying, you're poor and it's not necessarily your fault, and you need to be able to catch a break. I think they're two very different interpretations of you're right, the same scenario. I think it is interesting as well, Hugo. I saw an interview with Springsteen recently as to his standing in the USA. He said that his and the E Street Band's 2/3 of his and the E Street Band's business presently is done in Europe, and in the USA less so. And that really, really surprised me. He still packs out arenas and on the East Coast, certainly stadiums. So I don't wish to suggest that he's really up on his accas over there. But I do wonder how much perhaps of his constituency, of his fan base, he has turned off with this, and whether he cares about that, because I guess he probably doesn't.
So look, Trump suggested that Kamala Harris paid Springsteen and other celebrities to endorse her, which seems unlikely to be true, not least because they didn't need the money. Springsteen, I mean, although his politics, as you say, have been subtle, he also has a pretty long record of backing Democrat candidates, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think the first time he did it was in 1984. I'd need to check that out. You've put me on the spot a little bit, but he does so. I mean, I remember when John Kerry was standing. Gosh, that seems a very long time ago, doesn't it? And him and John Bon Jovi would just go out on the stump and this is in the cold fall, the cold autumn, and just John Bon Jovi would sing Living on a Prayer and Springsteen would sing Thunder Road. And they just kind of do these little pop-up gigs at rallies. The thing about America, I think, Hugo, and I've been to America so many times, it's ridiculous, really. So I like to think that I know a little bit. America, every so often and quite regularly, goes crazy. It goes insane as a country. It went insane during Prohibition. It went insane during McCarthyism. And it's gone insane now, I think. The difference between those iterations in the past and what's happening now is that one wonders whether the country can shake the Etch-a-Sketch and reset itself when Trump has gone.
Look.
And I think that that's what Springsteen has really intuited, and what the speech on the clip that you played, which was from the Manchester Arena shows last week, Co-op Arenas last week. I think that's what's different. And Springsteen as an artist is very good at that. He's very good not just at articulating what is happening, but articulating the implications of what is yet to happen.
Well, I think Springsteen's Trump 2.0 album is going to be one to look forward to in that case. Thank you very much indeed, Ian Winwood. That's music journalist Ian Winwood there. Great to speak to you, Ian.